Today, folks, we got to discuss this Canadian junior exploration company in my backyard of Ontario with a focus on gold, copper, and nickel during this precious metal, this commodities renaissance, as the company has some major upcoming catalysts after basically raising $4.5 million to help run their phase 2 drill program on one of their flagship assets, while also giving them some capabilities to expand into their other prospects, which are very intriguing during this massive boom in this market. The company's called PTX Metals, trading on the OTC markets under PANXF and the TSXV under PTX. This company did reach out to me. It is, of course, part of sponsored content, as I leave the disclaimers down in the description below. Of course, these are opinions of my own, but I've recognized that many of the large cap mining stocks have gotten all the recognition during this commodity boom, where the junior explorers that actually might have some real prospects aren't getting the same attention or growth within their stocks, which is opening up a value opportunity for those seeking them out and trying to find and differentiate the ones that actually have some real prospects with these upcoming catalysts. And PTX Metals has been about flatlining for the year with about a $12 million market cap, but because they have that cash in these upcoming catalysts, there's some real potential here. So if you love exploring the precious metal space, junior explorers, consider hitting that subscribe button, as I will include perhaps future updates down the road. Now, PTX Metals is creating value from high quality gold and copper, nickel, PGE assets located in the world acclaimed mining camps of Northern Ontario. And just taking a look at the flagship, which we'll expand on, including some of the other assets, the W2 property adjacent to Barrick Gold with 135 MT at 0.78% copper equivalent with a 0.5% cutoff. But if you take a look, this is they controlled 22,000 hectare complex, similar to the ROF, 100% owned, with exploration targets outlined as they head into a phase 2 drill program that's underway. But if we just broad view what they're trying to achieve here with the introduction, we're talking about acquiring, discovering, de-risking, and resource expansion. That W2 project, as mentioned, but also the South Timmins Gold project they have with the Hennen Millard, which is 77.4 mil at 0.5 grams per ton gold drilling, and the Shining Tree, which is 9 mil at 6 grams per ton gold tranche. But this is a tier 1 jurisdiction. There's a lot of upside development of the Ring of Fire with a political movement to improve the infrastructure and push to become a top tier global mining jurisdiction with exposure to quality assets in Ontario. And they want to acquire assets on an attractive term, proximity to majors. I mean, they're near Juno, Barrick, IAMGOLD, Aris, Alamos, obviously to scale these projects out. And then, they have a team and shareholders, really good, great cap structure, really great team to help propel this project. If we take a look, though, and we just talk about this PTX assets in Ontario, Canada, again, the jurisdiction and upside's interesting because we have a very mining friendly and focused prime minister now with a new infrastructure bill to ROF designated an important economic zone of strategic importance, and they got permitting timelines reduced with the W2 polymetallic project with major copper PGE deposits in that Ring of Fire, as we've discussed, because it has historical drilling by Inco and FNX and an expansion and focus on the high grade zones, but they're de-risking the large bulk near surface exploration target to MRI drilling confirmation for the historical database, which is working toward resource confirmation. And on the South Timmins side of it, they're building the next discovery in a booming gold belt, direct neighbor of Juby's deposit, which is 2.3 million ounces of gold, and IAMGOLD Cody gold mine, which is 20 million ounces of gold. And that's a 23,000 hectare consolidated land package. And they're leveraging past exploration for quick discoveries and high grade past drilling and extensive surface samples. But if we just take a look at their strategy, it's fairly straightforward. Strategy a lot of juniors tend to follow, which is advancing and confirming the next large project in the Ring of Fire. So de-risking, exploration targets toward resource estimates, which we've discussed here. And then they've got the strengthening knowledge to basically bring this into the upside of basically a re-rating and a major step to a potential buyout with improving infrastructure. And they've also got the consolidation and discovery, so like Shining Tree, Hennen Mallard, with the upside of the next strategic play in the upcoming major gold camp in South Timmins and direct neighbor to Aris Gold and IAMGOLD. So this is kind of the strategy that they're starting to implement here with a very tight cap structure behind them. This is a lot of institutional ownership here. Institutions alone 14%, board and management and fan cap at 19%, European family office and and H&W 27%. So they've got a very tight structure, with the rest being mostly a retailer outside of this Canadian H&W. So that should keep the float pretty tight, as I think they've recently done a reverse split on the stock to consolidate some more of the shares. And again, they've recently raised that 4.498 million, which I'll remind you that cash alone puts that at almost just under half of their entire market cap. So I think the company does have some cash, some leeway to start building out these potential prospects, getting the drill programs, and bringing in de-risking at hopes that the market starts to recognize those catalysts and value when it comes into play. So if you're an investor looking for that kind of risk, these could be some real potential stocks for you to pay attention to. But let's listen to the CEO, who's recently on Spartan Trading, talking about some of the projects themselves, catalysts, including more upside with uranium royalties, uranium projects and royalty projects that we haven't even discussed yet. So just take a quick listen.
Did you highlight PTX Metals' most promising projects, such as the W2 copper nickel PG project, and explain how they could drive significant value for shareholders in the near to long term?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think now is a great time for your investors to be looking at PTX. And just generally speaking, the commodity sector, as you know, is becoming much more attractive. And this is a bit of a value play, in my opinion. A lot of the stocks in this sector, they'll make a discovery, they'll be trading with 100, 150 million market cap and a lot of risk on those next drill results. In our case, what we've been doing over the last 3 years, fairly quietly, we've been, bought these quality assets, we've been de-risking them. Yeah. So what that means, we've been doing metallurgy, we've been drilling, and we've been putting a resource together. And now it's a very attractive entry point when you look at our portfolio. Just the copper project, we've got the gold project, which could be divested. We've also got an equity position in a uranium company that's going public, and we've also got some net smelter royalties. And I think the big driver, as an example, would be we have a resource on W2. It's based on a lot of historical work done by two really good operators. So what we're doing is we're reconfirming that drilling. We're going to show the market can get a lot larger, and we're de-risking it with metallurgy, showing the recoveries are strong. And then that is, majors will then look to buy these things at, probably 10, 20 times what we're trading at today. And the market will start getting behind it as they see the resource comes out. They see the good work we're doing. The institutions will come in, and then the market cap will increase and the liquidity will improve. And these things just kind of have a sort of a snowball effect as they get going.
What are the catalysts and milestones that we should be watching for in the next 12 to 18 months with the company or within the sector itself?
Yeah, well, I mean, from the sector, I think, probably more M&A. It looks like prices like gold, copper, platinum, palladium are all, silver are all going to continue increasing. Yeah, which will bring back a lot of the risk capital. And then for us specifically, as mentioned earlier, we did a lot of de-risking. I put together a very good board, lots of diversified experience on that board, a technical team that's worked in the region of these projects, obviously very important. We listed on the TSX Venture, a much better regulated, a much more liquid exchange. We've been raising a lot of capital, improving our shareholder base. And so now, with that, I think it's a very attractive entry point for investors. And we've done a lot of that basic de-risking. But for us, I think the big catalyst will be getting the mineral resource that's compliant on W2, because that will allow us to trade with our peers. Because currently we're using a lot of that historical drilling, as mentioned. Yeah. And then getting the metallurgy done, I see that because then, majors can look at the asset and see the size, the growth potential, and the fact that the recoveries are attractive. And then, a lot of people know I like to do a lot of M&A myself. So you could see us doing a corporate transaction where we sell an asset. We could even pick up other assets because there's still a lot of, cheaply priced assets out there. And then also, as mentioned, we've been looking to list our uranium company that we own an equity position of. So you can see a transaction developing there. There will be a very strong leader coming in to run that, which I'm quite excited about that. I'll continue working on PTX, but we'll be a shareholder of that. So that's another big catalyst. And then I think just in the sector, Ontario is pushing to streamline its mining. We're already Canada is obviously a big mining jurisdiction now, top in uranium, potash, copper, gold. but the governments are, focused on streamlining these projects and getting more employment and more mines in production. So I think that's a big benefit.
On that note, I will pass the question off to you. I'd love to know what you think about this in that comment section below. Consider subscribing for future updates as we tend to uncover and explore more junior exploration stocks. But on that, as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.